What's going on, Panthers? It's your boy Lionel, class of 2009, back with another episode of PV versus everybody. And listen, as you see on the screen, we got a special guest in the building this evening. But before we get to our special guest, y'all already know what we got to do. First and foremost, man, shouts out to y'all. Clap it up for you guys, because we had a goal of hitting 800 subscribers, and we were able to hit that the other day, man. So, man, appreciate the love, appreciate the support. So you know what that means. Listen, we cross barriers, we hit goals, and we got to create new goals, right? You know what I'm saying? So, but again, we just want to appreciate each of you for checking the live through, man. We're gonna show some love. Listen, can you guys see me? Are you out there? I apologize, because man, I've been in that. Are you guys able to hear me? All right. Can you guys hear me? Let me know in the chat if you guys can hear me. My internet has been giving me trouble these last couple of days. But can you guys hear me? Let me know if the chat if you can hear me. All right.
All right.
Miss Donna, are you able to hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay, awesome. All right. So, okay, I'm now you able to hear me? I can't hear you. Let me see if I can get this situated. Man, I apologize, you guys. For some reason, my internet has been giving me crazy trouble. We're gonna have to figure something out because it's like, let me see.
Come back on tomorrow.
Okay, boom, so you can hear me now. Okay, gotcha. All right.
Testing.
All right, so boom, so you can hear me now. But Miss Donna, I can't hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes.
I'm not hearing you though.
What?
Can you guys hear Miss Donna?
Donna is good. Hello. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Want me to leave and come back?
All right, hold on. Let me go out and come back. Let me see. It's because it seems like it's me. All right.
Okay, can you hear me now?
There we go. All right, I got you now. All right.
Got me?
All right, I got you now. Hey, listen. I apologize for the technical difficulties, you guys. You know what I'm saying? Listen, my internet has been acting crazy these last couple of days for some reason. So again, it's giving me a lot of trouble. But like I was saying, right before we get into the main meat of the show, right? We're gonna be actually having Jamel Matthews coming on tomorrow evening. Gonna be doing a deep dive on Texas Southern football team. You know, we're gonna be looking at all the different football teams that we're gonna be dealing with in this fall campaign. And so we're gonna be starting off with TSU. Talking about some of their key players, some of the guys that they got coming over, some of the guys that maybe we need to be paying attention to. And so be on the lookout for that on tomorrow evening. We also got Ty Dillard, head coach, new women's head basketball coach for the Panthers. That's going to be coming on June 3rd. So be on the lookout for that as well. As we're going to be getting that rolling. And again, man, we got a lot of different great things, some deep dives of some different players as well that we're going to be doing. So make sure you on the lookout for those things as well. So with that said, man, let's get rolling now. First and foremost, I want to thank our special guest of the evening, Miss Donna Glover. How you doing? Y'all give it up for Miss Donna. How you doing, Miss Donna?
Woo-hoo. I'm doing good. I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well. Listen, just trying to deal with these difficulties, but listen, we're gonna make it work. We're gonna keep it shaking. We're gonna keep it moving, man. You know how we do. So it looks like we got a couple guests in the building too. And so, Miss Dunn, I wanted to start off because obviously you're coming, talking about, we're gonna be talking a little bit about the football forum. But before we get into the football forum, I just want to start with you. First, can you just tell us a little bit about your background, your history, where you grew up from, right? And when did you kind of start that love for football and just athletics in general? Where did it come from?
Well, okay, let's hit it. So everybody, good evening. It's me, Donna G, on the MIC and in the place to be. So I'm happy to be on here tonight. Thanks, and I know for inviting me. And so listen, I am a 1998 grad of Prairie View A&M University. My major was computer science with a minor of math. And so since 98, 99, I've always been interested in athletics because I just started researching it and seeing how do other programs, how do other schools build their programs, right? And so I think the PWIs, they got it right. Of course, they have a leg up or what have you because they have a lot of things that we don't have, right? Money and alumni donations and things of that nature. And then once we were getting to the table during that time in the 90s, they moved the table, they changed the table like they always do, right? So we were coming up, and then they started saying that uh, athletics would not be funded by the schools. And so that was a change in the table. So that meant that while A&M and UT, the other schools of the first class, in addition to Prairie View, right? With the third
Mm-hmm.
university of first class here in Texas. And so they needed to figure out how to get money for athletics to continue with our program. So, as you know, you're a connoisseur of Prairie View and athletics and HBCU's athletics as well. And so, you know that Prairie View was a leading contender back in the 50s and 60s, 70s, or whatever. And I know that's in part because a lot of PWIs were not accepting Black students, right? And Black
Mm-hmm.
athletes. So we just made it do what it do. But I got into studying, how to really make our HBCUs
I lost you there. Hey, I think we lost your audio, Donna. I got you back now, but I can't hear you. You must be in the same area I'm in, because both of us having trouble tonight. Okay, yeah. Boom says we lost your audio. Yeah, yeah. I still can't hear you. I can't hear you. Can you hear me? Okay, I can't hear you. Uh, maybe can you go out and come back in again to the studio and see if your audio. All right. So again, it's Donna G. Telling us a little bit about history. Talking about Prairie View being one of the three schools of the first class. Let me grab a tripod here. See if I can get a tripod so that way um, we can be set up properly. There we go. Hello? Can you hear me? I still can't hear you. I still can't hear you right now. right. All right. She's back in. All right. Hello.
Hello?
All right. There we go. We got
Can
you.
you hear me?
Awesome.
I think
Yes, we can
somebody
hear you.
called me and then it clicked me off.
Okay, that's what it was. All right, that makes sense. So yeah, we
Yeah.
got you back on now. So again, you talking about PV being one of the first class, right? You know, it's kind of going through that history.
Right. And so I was just saying that athletics build programs, athletics build schools, right? So that was what happened with my research over 20, 30 years ago, right? So it's nothing new and we don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's actually programs. We just, hey, ask them what they're doing or model what they're doing and keep it moving, right? So that's my thing. I just wanted to always be able to, Prairie View's producing productive people. We've had athletes to go on and reach great heights in different programs and whatnot. And so I just want to see how we can build that up again. And so that's what really got me into athletics. I'm a computer science program, but I knew that athletics builds schools. So once our alumni, and I think we're doing that more now, gets into that, then we can build our reputation back from athletics as well as our research dollars. Once people get to know you and know their name, they're ready to give money.
Right. Now it's interesting when you talk about just the time that you were on the hill. 1998, when you especially talk about just the general athletics, right? That's a time that obviously many people go back to and talk about because uh, there was just during that period of time. For you being on campus during that time, what was just the campus kind of atmosphere like? If you remember it, right, when you talked about not just even just the football, right, games and kind of the fan support and alumni support around that, but just generally for athletics in general. What can you tell us about just the atmosphere at that time of the alumni support, and then talk about kind of what maybe caused what kind of transitions or differences do you see even now in this time period?
Yeah, so it was a lot of things going on in the 80s and 90s, right? So I even reflect back and I'm like, where was alumni at, during this part? But the alumni, and then people remind me, right, that Prairie View was going through a lot of changes with the state of Texas as well as Texas A&M University. They were trying to mesh or incorporate Prairie View into we're in the A&M system, but they wanted to make sure or make us be Texas A&M at Prairie View. And so during that time,
Mhm.
the alumni were really fighting to prevent that from happening. And even one of our alumni who went on to law school at U of H, Lonnie Davis, was really instrumental in making sure that Prairie View kept its anonymity, right? That we kept our name as Prairie View A&M University and not being incorporated into the Texas A&M at Prairie View. So they were really kind of dealing with that. Like I told you, they changed the table where it said, okay, we as the state are not giving funds to the universities, what have you, for athletics. So that meant that while they had a great alumni base with millions of dollars, we did not, right? So we had to kind of struggle to kind of make that transition. And then we had a president who decided to kind of shut everything down as far as athletics, and that really hurt us in the scholarship area. So it's been, a road in trying to rebuild our scholarships. Even my fiance was like, they were trying to get him to play football and he didn't want to because they were giving out no money, And so he's like, man, he's 6'2", 6'3", and big guy, and they were like, yeah. and his brothers played football, and the coaches kept trying to recruit him to play for Prairie View, and it was like, man, y'all ain't giving no money, So that's something that we had to overcome as a university, and I think we are. So it was that. It was the fight with Prairie View A&M. I'm sorry, with Texas A&M to make sure that we stayed as Prairie View A&M University and not get incorporated or get sucked up. So those are some major.
A lot of things transpiring.
I'm sorry.
I was just saying there was a lot of things transpiring. Yeah.
Absolutely, and those things take money. And as Raymond mentioned, he said that was the worst decision that the president made, and I agree with that. But I think that was what he thought was best at the time, obviously, and so we can't go back. We're just moving forward. So in the 90s was we had been losing streak, right? In 1998, I graduated in May, and I was in Chicago working my first job when the Prairie View team won against Langston.
Oh, we lost you again. Hey, Donna, again. You might have to go out and come back in again. I don't know what's going on. I know the internet has been real spotty and real shaky recently. So again, we appreciate you guys for giving us some grace this evening for everything going on with this internet coverage, because mine has been acting up for really the last couple of days, and it's still acting up now, obviously. So we're gonna definitely have to figure something out. But Donna was definitely going through some interesting history for us, right? And bringing us up to this time throughout the 80s, the 90s, right? And talking about some of the things that we just had to deal with as a university. And obviously, when you kind of are in a bind and in a position where you feel like, man, I got to make some tough decisions. I got to decide, right, whether, hey, listen, I'm gonna pay Peter or pay Paul. Kind of maybe the president was at that time, and having to make decision of, okay, how much focus are we going to put on the athletic department when we really dealing with some other things at university, and really trying to protect ourselves, protect our heritage, right? As Donna mentioned, with the name change that was seeking to come down from the system, and so that was the focus at that time. Again, do we think like Boom is saying here? Do we think it's the best decision? No, But like Donna said, I mean, it's a decision that they made at that time, and now we're just seeking to roll with it and to build from there. So I think we got her back in. There we go. Yeah, there we go. And so that brings us back to
Satan in the name of Jesus.
Hey, that's right. That's right. So that brings us back to you was there, Chicago, and you were saying working your job, and you heard about the Langston victory, which was the first one after 80 games at that time.
Yes, so very exciting. I'm up in Chicago and got word of the win or whatever. So it was just really exhilarating. We had a Chicago alumni chapter at that time, and the next year I became president of that. But at that time, we just shared with all the Prairie View alum that were in the area, and we just really had a ball. So very, very exciting. And of course, just being a semester removed from the university, some of my classmates were on the team that brought home the victory. So that was very exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh no, that I'm sure that was huge. Getting that victory, right, and just being a part of that kind of class and those people who were there during that time. Because I know being there in 2009 when we won the Spike Championship. I mean, just the feeling on campus and just the support for the team at that time. I can only imagine, what it was, even before then. And so, and I think that's some of the things that people don't see and don't realize, that PV really does have a huge alumni base in general, right? But really has a lot of people that actually really appreciate the athletic, the program, right? That support the sports teams, and I think a lot of times it really kind of goes under the radar, you know what I'm saying? Because of what kind of we've experienced in the past, right? But you know, I think there are certain moments in time that we see really the alumni pop out in the way support in general from the community. That reminds us, like, no, man, this is first of all a huge HBCU with a huge alumni base, right? I think when you look at in terms of all HBCUs outside of Southern, which has multiple campuses, right? Have the largest amount of alum that have graduated, right, amongst all HBCUs, over 85,000 now, right? And so that's a huge support base, and that's let alone other people who touch campus who ain't graduated, right? That's a whole big old number, right? And so the support is there, right? You're really garnering and building and connecting with that base, right? And I think that's something that throughout the years that we've had, every athletic program has had to change and had to kind of remaneuver, right? Because if we talk about Langston back in the day, right? I mean, how that information was disseminated is completely different than how information is disseminated today in 2025, right? You know what I'm saying? Right. There was no ESPN Plus. There was no place we can go stream basically every one of our games like back then, right? Yet the support and desire was there. So, and even before we get to this time, when we talk about even building toward getting a football stadium, because can you talk a little bit about that? Because I know that you saw and experienced that as well, because I don't think people realize that the amount of alumni monetary support that had to be given to that project also is another show that, listen, there is a base review in support of the athletic program that just hasn't been fully tapped into yet. But in that moment of time, it was, and we see what amazingness was done, right? Can you just talk and speak a little bit about that?
Well, I think that Roy Perry and Nathan, because other universities were, they had foundations or whatever. And even we had a foundation that kind of was up and it was down or whatever. And so sometimes I think we're a little behind as far as knowing what's going on and what to do, or maybe it's the people that work with the university. But we finally caught up and what have you, created the foundation, and then I think made athletics a priority, because I think it was just, I guess, really seeing, like I was telling you, that athletics build universities. I think once you realize that, then you got to put a plan in place and put bodies and things in motion, what have you. And so I think, everything was coming aligned. We had presidents, just people that see, okay, now we're ready to work this, what have you. Because as you know, like Alabama A&M, they have a very nice stadium, and that was done years before our Prairie View was. And so I often wonder when I go see places, I'm like, what are we doing, And so again, we had some battles and things and that nature to fight. But once we're on board, and I think it's just, so 2016 was the opening of the new stadium, and very excited by that time. I came back home and I had moved to Washington, D.C. So I came home and then I was gone again. But I made it to the opening, which was the Labor Day Classic for in September, that first game. And that was our first home opener at the stadium. And it was beautiful. Studied the art. I also made a challenge to our, fellow alumni to purchase seats in the stadium. So I still have my seat purchase that honors my father and my grandfather, Jeff Alfred Glover Sr. and Jeff Alfred Glover Jr. And so those can be seen on the 50-yard line. But it was funny because, well, not funny, it was great because a lot of people joined that challenge, and they actually purchased seats, whatever. We had been able to purchase bricks. I think my AKA line, Theta Gamma, fall 1996, we purchased a brick, what have you. So, you had people really coming together to be a part of history for Prairie View.
Right. No, that was obviously a big moment. I was there as well, right? And just the overwhelming support. I mean, it was really it was really crazy, right? You know, to see us finally accomplish that goal. And I was there, you know, like I said, during the time we and you start hearing the rumblings of the desire to start that fundraising, right? To do something like what we saw in 2016, you know, during that time. To finally see it all come to fruition, I think obviously was amazing, and also showed the amount of support, like you talked about Roy Perry, you know, and other people that are not just alum that, you know, financially had the means, right, to give what we needed, right, in order to reach that point, but also people in legislation, people in councils, right, to be able to give that support for what PB wanted to do at the time, and finally leadership understanding the importance of sports, right? The importance of athletics to building a university. And I always think about my cousin went to North Carolina A&T, and I always think about the fact that, man, when A&T went on their run, you know, their football run, you know, how it just boosted the amount of people that applied for the school, right? And so to think of where we could think about where we are now, almost at 10,000 students, and to think our number of yearly applicants is not close to what, for example, like an A&T receives. But again, if we have a similar run like A&T, what could that do for the university? Not just athletics, right? We're talking about the university, right? And so, yeah, and I want to transition also to just the Labor Day class. That first game in 2016. Before we get into, you know, talking about the football form specifically, what is your thoughts on the Labor Day Classic in its current conception? Because we've had the Labor Day where we actually meet at, for example, NRG, right, or, you know, stadium, and then now we've had the home and home rivalry situation. In your opinion, you know, what's the best route for the Labor Day Classic in your mind, right? Do you think that it's viable to move back to having it maybe in Houston? I know that that's something big that the Al Watch wants to do, right? Of course, you know, so he always talks about it. But do you think that makes sense, or do you prefer what we're seeing now, right, with that home game on campus, right, to start the year off every other year?
So I want to speak on that, but also you asked me something earlier about how was the atmosphere on campus before the stadium, and I just wanted to speak to that real quick because I kind of forgot about that. But I mean, you know, always producing productive people, always excited. We always gonna party. We're gonna support our athletes, whatever. So, you know, we went out there to the little, you know, we had Blackshear Field, and you know how that was. Kind of like TSU Stadium now, whatever. But a couple of stands and a little field there, right? But we always, you know, standing room only. But we always made the best of it. Definitely homecoming and different games, whatever. We just made the best of those football games. But, you know, track, or I think we've always been a leader in track. We're coming up with the softball, so congratulations to Coach Glenn and Coach Lane on winning, you know, 2 years in a row, probably multiple than that, but definitely making great teams in baseball. And so, yeah, somebody was saying that the Marching Stone was holding it down. So I'm going to pivot that into what you asked about the Labor Day Classic, right? So when I was a young girl, you know, high school, middle school, Labor Day Classic was all that, right? It's like a Bayou Classic. We were at Rice Stadium, and then it progressed to the NRG. I think it was somewhere else too, maybe U of H field as well. But it was just a time for the community to come together. You know, middle school, like, hey, we're gonna get our outfits together. You know, who's taking us, how we getting there, get your hair done. You know, like we're middle school, high school people, but you know, not like we're gonna be talking to them in college, but it's gonna be some people our age there, right? So we're gonna make sure we looking fresh to death, and all that kind of stuff, right? And so that was just the nostalgia of the Labor Day Classic. And so I get it where, you know, it was home to home. And so I actually worked with Dr. Kenyatta Cavill 2000, probably was 20, it might have been 2009, 2010, something like that. We started some packages, some party game packages that you could have. And we were at the Holiday Inn near the stadium. And so we had different nights, like the first night was Greek night, and they had their own suites, and we had all floor and vendors and things of that nature. And then the next night was where the alumni association night, whatever, and that was after the game. We had a party and things of that nature. So we just really had some great times. And so from there until now, the whole idea was to have several events and add on different events each year. And so well, I wouldn't say 2 years ago, 2023, I wanted to bring forth the forum because it's kind of like the Celebration Bowl. So I've worked with them and other classics, and they have different events going on, and those that are sponsored by, various companies in the NFL. And so I wanted to bring some of that light to Prairie View and TSU.
Right.
And with that being said, we also want to do a week of events, and they're having that being done now. Unfortunately, my proposal was outbidded, but I guess the excitement still rolls on. It's something that the vision will go forth with making sure that so for the game and the week of events, it's like bringing the community in the game again, right? Before it's like I said, we're home to home. So you like whoever can travel to Prairie View, or from Prairie View who can travel to TSU. No, we want a neutral site. So I'm still advocating for that, and I've told both athletic directors that. And so we want, hopefully we'll see what happens next year. But for now, just being able to bring the community in, invite middle schools and high schools, and, showcase the bands, and to, get this atmosphere, right? Because back in the day, we had a different world, and we, all different shows that highlighted, even Martin, you go back to the whole episodes of Martin. Or Living Single, they promoted Black colleges. They had sweatshirts on with Black colleges, the HBCU, So it was really a time to be alive. And so now it's just being able to foster that again. And so what would have been a great thing in addition to that was, okay, hey, you wearing our sweatshirts, donate some money to our university, right? And I think that's where we fall short a little bit, we meaning HBCUs, because I'm saying we don't tell our story. And I've mentioned to Dr. Wright, to even to Dr. LeGrand, we don't tell our story well enough. Let me say that. Or a lot or whatever. And so sometimes when we, the donations, they might always go to a Howard or to a Morehouse or to a Spelman. And I'm saying they have a reputation because they tell their story, right? So we, as other HBCUs, we got to tell our story. We have to be very diligent about doing so. And so anyway, bringing up to,
that's I think those are good points that you bring up, right? And that's really the whole reason for this channel in the first place, right? It's like, if you don't tell your story, somebody else will, right?
Absolutely.
If you don't create your narrative, somebody else will create it for you. And so that's the point. And I love when Dr. LeGrand first introduced AD Golf, because that's one thing that she mentioned specifically was, we need to tell our story, right? We need to talk about the reality that we are not just any HBCU, right? We're not just any school in the SWAC, right? We're actually the premier school in the SWAC. We're the only member of the SWAC, of the original, right, SWAC conference, that is still here and that's still maintained. And that's a part of telling our story, right? And so, that is a huge thing that we need to continue to do. That's a huge thing that we need to not just let be an issue, it needs to be a main issue, right? Both from an athletic standpoint and also from a university as a whole standpoint as well. Boom, I see Boom's comment here. He said, until attendance demands a neutral site again, it'll be hard. Yeah, and I think that, you know, at the end of the day, the money, the not just attendance, but also, listen, the money, right? Now, I don't know what TSU's situation is, obviously, because they are playing at a stadium that you know, I don't know how that works with them, right? You know what I'm saying? But I obviously with it being a home and home game, right? There has to be some financial benefit to having it there. So that money made times whatever for both ADs to be happy with making a neutral site game. But I think, and I understand what Donna's getting at, is thinking about that old nostalgia of what it was before and of the community, right? Building a community around the game. And I can see how that is a little bit harder when the game is not in a specific place, in a specific location every single year, right? That you can kind of already know is coming, right? If it's in year versus Shell Energy one year, you know, it makes it a little bit more difficult, right, to then think about the week of events that lead up to the game, right? So I can definitely understand, you know, that aspect of it, especially when you try to make it again. Because the Labor Day Classic, we all honest, right, has fallen off in that sense, right? One, with the events around the game to make it a week-long kind of extravaganza, and also the game itself, right? Last year, TSU winning helps actually to make the game a lot more enticing for people to watch and come see. Because over the last 21 years, I think, right, we won 17 out of 21 games. That's, you know, and then before that, TSU won like 13 out of 15, right? So for
17.
decades upon decades, you know what I'm saying? So go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm listening.
No, I'm just saying, you know, that is something that then you have to fight against, right? One, you try to make it a community event, you know what I mean, by having the events around it, right, to draw attraction for schools or whatever, right, to be a part of it. But then the other aspect that also will make it a draw is the game itself being a quality game, right? Just the on-field game itself of like, hey, this game is always going to be tight. This game is always going to be big. Well, when you look at the last, I mean, really 30, 40 years, the game has always been lopsided. The first 20 years for TSU, the last 20 years for PV. And so it's not really something that, from just a pure football standpoint, has drawn people. And then when you don't have the community events and everything kind of around it to make it all come together, it can lose its luster, right? And I think that's what had happened over these last few decades, you know?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, so you got to have something that's community friendly. Now, the other part I want to caveat with that is, so having it at your own stadium has some, definitely financial perks. But I think what we need to do is make sure that we negotiate, those financial perks at the neutral site. I also feel like we don't do a great job at negotiating, right, and getting the most for our bucks. So like I was talking with someone at TSU, and they were like, "Oh, we're over at Shell Stadium, but when we try to practice or whatever, then they say they mowing the yard or they're putting the turf down." And an opportune time, right, where they should be practicing. And I'm like, hey, that's
crazy.
that is kind of like administration type of deal, right? Because they're not giving you the Shell Stadium for free. You paying for it, So that's what I always kind of get upset with people like, oh, like, I was in Dubai a couple of months ago, and they were like, yeah, oh, be happy about it. Like a service I was trying to get in. I'm like, they ain't giving me nothing. It ain't like they're giving it to me, right? I'm paying for it. It's not a favor. A favor
it's not free.
is free, right? So it's not a favor. It's something that I'm paying for that I should be getting. So in that situation, it was like, no, your administration needs to to make sure that they are requesting and they're getting everything that they pay for. You don't tell me that I can't practice
Right.
on this day or whatever because you putting turf down. No, you put the turf down on Wednesday because we playing a game on Saturday. Like
Right. Right.
yeah. So I'm saying I'm getting passionate about it because I'm like we have to um we have to stand up and make sure that we're getting the best deal for our play, for our performance, right? So it's, again, it's not free. We're sharing, like the Shell Stadium, they're sharing the profits, or if we're go to another neutral site, we're gonna be sharing in the profits, so let's make sure that
Right.
it's profitable, for more profitable for the teams that are playing.
No, for sure. No, that's definitely for sure. So, we talk about obviously now the football forum itself. Talk about what the benefit of the football forum, not just from a fundraising standpoint, right, for the universities, but also talk about the people that are connected with it, right. Some of the players that come back and talk and give up themselves, right, to others there at the forum, right. So just people can know it can look forward to, right, with partnering with supporting, right, what's going to be going on August 25th.
Yes. So again, my baby, I'm so excited about being able to put it on another time. We definitely want to thank in the past help from the city of Houston and city councilwoman and my soror lady, city councilwoman Carolyn Shabazz, excuse me. And if you don't know, she is a Spelman alumni, and but also I think she has a master's or whatnot from TSU. But her grandfather was the president of Prairie View, and so she has ties to both Prairie View
Mm.
and Texas Southern. And again, I just want to give a major shout out for her helping us last
Right.
time and
That's dope.
our support this time. Um, Also, we initiated uh, partnership with the NFL, HBCU. They send us over some kind of giveaways or whatever, and so we're looking to build on that this year, as well as the NFLPA and the Texans organization.
Oh,
And
this was
so
up.
they were exciting. They sent up a legend, which was Earl Mitchell last time, and we're looking to further build that partnership. So I've asked for us to be able to, us meaning TSU and Prairie View, to be able to attend a practice this summer. So they're supposed to be getting back with me. So that's a surprise. So I had that still in my back pocket, and I'm waiting for the operations to get back. But in the meantime, they're still going to send over some a legend or legends for the football forum. Last year,
That's awesome.
we also had Derek Johnson, who was a standout linebacker for the University of Texas, and he went on to
Mhm.
play 13 seasons with the Chiefs, Kansas City Chiefs, as well as Ben Emmanuel the second, who played I think 5 seasons for the San Francisco 49ers. And so
Mm.
they'll be back again this year, and then we're working with the NFLPA Houston chapter as well as nationals to get some other um, legends who are close to Houston, like Andre Johnson,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
uh, Chad Ochocinco. His daughter just finished from Prairie View, so
Yeah.
we're in the
Yeah.
talks with him as well. And those who can't make it, like Kadero Hodge or Mr. Bell, who is it? Was he at Tampa this year again? Back
Miami.
Miami. I'm sorry, he's in back in Florida. So just getting them to maybe make a video for the young men, just encouraging them to keep with it, and as well as Mr. Strahan, Michael Strahan, what have you. So we're looking to. I mean, we're still in negotiation, so it's gonna be when it gets closer. And then we also had what's the young man who participated last year? Ah. my gosh, tall, light skinned brother. He has the pants.
Oh,
Quentin
but it's
Spears.
Spears, right? Spears.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's always been very instrumental, whatever, in coming to participate. And so, what it is that we'll have those former football players coming to talk with the current football players of Prairie View and Texas Southern universities. Telling about their life stories. Really want to just encourage them. I want to encourage them to, put their best foot forward, and it's great
Right.
that we have new coaches that have put together teams that we're looking forward to win championships on both sides, right? And because like
I don't know. I don't know about the looking forward on both sides. I don't know about that. That
well,
I mean. Listen. That's out of Donna mouth. They ain't out of my mouth. All right, but go ahead. I'm gonna let you finish.
well, you're a fan of HBCU sports, and I'm a Houston girl, from Sunnyside till I die. Everybody knows that. So, but I grew up on the steps of Texas Southern, being in top teams and just a lot of different organizations, the NAACP and things of that nature. And they had events and forums and seminars or whatever at Texas Southern. So, again, as I have told both ADs and anybody that listen, I love HBCU. So in
Yes.
Chicago, I formed a HBCU alumni chapter organization, excuse me. And when I came back home, I was president of the Houston HBCU Alumni Association. When I was in DC, I was the Prairie View liaison for the
Mm.
DC HBCU alumni. So, whatever I can do to help Prairie View. Now, when we playing them, of course, it's PV, right? It's PV for life. PV. But when we're not playing them, then we're all on the same side and the same
Yeah. I
team.
mean, if they play in a Southland school, Lamar, or somebody like that, hey, listen, go and get your win, cuz we support you, okay? Outside of that
Absolutely.
though, it's all
Right.
conditional, okay? It depends. Right?
Absolutely.
If we don't like Southern or Grambling more or TSU, it just depends. I mean. We lost you. Hello?
You know.
I lost you. Hello? I was too hyper. It was my fault. It was my fault, y'all. It was my fault. Donna, you might have to jump out and come back in again. See, hey, listen. You know what it is? Donna, what it is? See, my platform is allergic to you talking about we hoping TSU win. That's what it was. I think that's what it was. You start hoping that TSU win on the platform. The platform threw you off. Okay, it ain't my fault. It ain't me. It ain't me. That's on you. Nah, I'm just playing. I think that's what happened. Donna, are you? Oh, got you.
I'm here. Yeah.
I
I
think
got
I
put
think I
on
think the platform through you. I see it got an automatic call. If it start hearing people talk about TSU winning something, it just automatically shut them down. I think that's what it is. But now, go ahead.
I'm like, I gotta put on do not disturb when I'm on here because I'm like, here calling these with the alarm going off. I'm like, sheesh Louise. So
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
I did hear about the internet issue. Yeah, that's going. Listen, I'm definitely right now because it's been the last couple of days too. So and y'all know, man. I try to bring y'all quality, right? I try to bring y'all quality.
absolutely.
That's like one thing I always want to do is make it quality, right? You know what I'm saying? So I hate that some stuff I might have to rearrange because I always want to be quality. That's my only thing, right? I don't like for it to be
Absolutely.
in and out like that. But I can't, sometimes you can't affect anything. We just have to make it work to our best of our abilities. You know what I'm saying?
Make
So
it do what it do. But I'll be back
just gotta
next
make
month,
it do
so
it.
we're gonna have it together.
Yeah. Hey, listen, we gonna get it in. You know what I'm saying? Because obviously, the platform is open, especially to all our PB alum. You know what I'm saying? Anybody that ever need or want to jump on the show, it is open because that's what it is. It's us versus everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely,
So
absolutely.
we want to just thank you so much.
And we've been needing that. We just really need that.
Yeah. No, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm just saying we just really have needed that. Like you said, it's not because it's a lack of support. It's just, I think, a lack of or in the past, just being able to come together and really see, and then losing so many games. Although I've gone back to check the scoring, and just like the Wizards, Washington Wizards or whatever, they lose games, but it's really like by a couple of points. It's like, dang, it's unfortunate that you can't win, or you have to lose because you're losing by a few points, right? And that's what happened
Mhm.
back in the 90s. It was just like really by three, just a margin of a few points, and it's like, dang. So it wasn't like we were getting blowed out. So you know, I know it's not a win, but when other HBCUs, especially swag schools, try to bring up our record, I'm just like, I know it's not the same to say, we lost or whatever, or we only lost by a few points, but that's the truth. So again, we didn't just get blowed out. We just lost, we didn't make that extra punt, or we didn't, make the extra touchdown, or that extra field goal. But hey, we were still in the game. So I think that, for our sake, preview sake, we got to hold on to that, and then know what it feels like to be a winner. Because like you said, we won the SWAC championship in 2009. We've been winning a lot more games since the 90s. And so we just got to recognize how to be winners, I think. And so in different groups, we talk about the fan support, and just being loud at the stadium. I stand up if you behind me and you don't like it. I don't care. I'm saying, because I paid for my seats just like you did. And when I go to a Texan game, or we go to a Texan game or any other game, they standing up. They're, especially, I think it might just be a southern thing too, because on the East Coast, baby, hey, you better not tell nobody to sit down. You gonna have a fight on your hands. You know what I'm saying? Because they're up on the game. They outside. Those stadiums are not domed.
Right.
They in the elements, so they're full throttle. Chicago, DC, Baltimore, New York. They outside, like for real.
Oh yeah, it's different. It's different. It's
So,
definitely different.
they
You know
and
what I'm
their teams
saying?
have been winning. Yeah, so we just got to learn how to appreciate our team and be winners. You know, you just I
Hey,
don't want to
listen,
say fake it till you make it, but
we there. You know what I'm saying? Hey, listen, we
yeah,
there. Hey, listen, you have to, it's just like, hey, you gotta talk and act as if your faith was invincible. All right, that's what you gotta do, right? You know what I'm saying? And T Jack understand that, because that's what we've been talking about. You know what I'm
absolutely,
saying? And I like that talk.
absolutely.
So again, man, we just appreciate you for coming on and just sharing with us, because all the different things that we see being done, to support our schools and our programs. Even again, right? Because it is HBCU love, right? Because for the schools, right, and the benefit of schools. I was just at my son's junior to senior program that they had just this past weekend, and talking about the schools, right? Had kids considered TSU, some considered Prairie View, and being able to just share the benefits of both of the schools, right, and what their academic programs can add based on what career field you want to look in. That's a part of, like, listen, the HBCU as a broad, right? All of us offer so much that our youth and our kids can benefit from, right? It is all love. And so we do want all the programs and all the schools to be successful. You know what I'm saying? And fundraising is a part of that, right? Because at the end of the day, athletic and sports is the front facing, part of the university. And when we go out here, right, and take care of business on the field against a Southland Conference, or against a UAC school, or against other schools in Texas, in basketball, football, whatever it may be, it does enhance the school as a whole, right? And so we do need our HBCUs from an athletic standpoint to continue to get better. We talk about it all the time on this show and this platform too, about us as HBCUs winning these games, right? Cross conference and out of conference. And so this is a part of that, right? The forum is a part of that. Showing players, right, football, what it looks like right on the other side of playing the game, and hearing the stories of those gentlemen that's coming, right, getting that professional development, and also, like I say, right, the fundraising, right, of the money that's provided to the university that helps support everything that's going on. So again, thank you so much for all you do. And any last words you got for PB Nation as a whole?
Yeah, so I just wanted to just reiterate the part about the football players they come and talk about their past lives, how to, also have a part where they talk about how to prepare for the draft. So we want more of our HBCU players to enter the draft and be ready to enter the draft and have those numbers and stats to enter the draft. In addition to that is nutrition, right? We want to make sure that they have the best nutrition, and I know that the athletic directors of both schools are working on that. But even in their own personal time, being able to focus on tradition, and then lastly, well, not lastly, family. How to deal with family. So if you do enter the draft and you go to the NFL or any career field, how to be able to deal with family who may be looking for handouts or whatever and things of that nature, which ties into the last part, which is the finances, right? How to manage your finances. And so we'll have a financial professional, Mickey McGill, who is an alum of Hampton, and he's also a licensed NFL financial person to come and talk. He came 2023. He was one of my top team people, whatever, from Yates High School. And he came and talked to the young men about um, their finances. And then last but not least, we want to, talk about the new NIL. I don't want to say new per se, but it's new in the game of athletics, right? And so we want to make sure that uh, that the students are on point with knowing how to receive the NIL deals, and that's income, guys. So they have to be able to account for that on their taxes. There's a lot of things that come with it, not just the money. And so we want to make sure that our guys are prepared. And in addition, we want companies to come out, right? You might have a small to medium business, a large business, whatever, that you want to have, investing in guys to be the face of your business, right? And we want to promote that for Prairie View and Texas Southern. So we want them to, we want you to come out so you can see, what talent there is, and who you would like to sponsor with an NIL deal. And then lastly, oh well, not lastly, but another point that Raymond asked me to mention was the Prowling Panther travel group. So we're on Facebook, and we're trying to build that up because I, Raymond, and maybe 20, 25 other people, we follow the football team. So we've been to FAMU, we've been to Southern, Alcorn, Jackson, wherever our guys go, Bethune, with right there following them. So y'all check that out, and then check out Houston Labor Day Classic on Facebook and Instagram. So we'll have more information on that. As you mentioned,
So Houston Labor Day Classic on Instagram and Facebook.
yes, and as you mentioned, the funds. We're getting corporate sponsors, but we also want donations from our alumni and through businesses, and that information will be available on those platforms as well as Eventbrite. And so you'll know about it, and then I'll be posting it and things of the nature, and hopefully it'll be back here on the PB versus everybody and Texas Southern Forums and other HBCU game day and things of that nature. So just looking forward to this new era in football for Prairie View and other HBCUs. And just remember, it's PV versus everybody. You guys give to the athletic program, give to the university, because nobody, as they say, nobody's coming to save us, right? But ourselves.
Nobody. Nobody coming to save you. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, man, again, we appreciate you for coming on. Again, make sure you follow on both of the platforms, Instagram and on Facebook. Make sure you check it out so you're getting all of the information. Like Isaiah say, PB versus all y'all. You know what I'm saying? Versus all y'all. Again, thank y'all for giving us some grace this evening, right? You know, the internet has really been tripping. Again, just want to remind you guys that we do have, you know, a couple special shows coming up. We got head coach of the women's basketball team, Ty Dillard, coming on June 3rd. So make sure you locked in, hit the notification bell for that. On tomorrow, we're going to be having Jamel Matthews on deep diving in the Texas Southern football program. And we also going to be doing some more deep dives of our guys that we've signed. Again, those are some members only lives. So if you don't got your membership for the platform, go ahead and get your membership to show support for the platform. It helps. There's a lot of moving parts in the background. So it definitely will help with everything that we got going on. And so we got some members only live coming up too as well. So make sure you guys are supporting that. And listen, we got something special dropping soon. Y'all already know. I ain't got to say too much. We got something special dropping soon. So y'all be on the lookout for that as well. So with that being said, man, again, we appreciate you guys, and we'll holler.
Peace.